Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Robert Khachatryan, the founder and chief operating officer of FreightRight Global Logistics, a logistics and transportation company catering primarily to technology-centric companies. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Thanks for having me.
Robert, you grew your company's revenue from $900,000 in 2014 to $5.5 million in 2017, a 511% increase. And in 2018, you hit around 19 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Yeah, so we are a logistics company, what's traditionally known as a freight forwarder. We primarily move products and cargo in general for businesses. So it's a business-to-business service, and the way we differ from the competition is we're just very forward-thinking, very technology-centric, and very lean. There's a lot of competitors out there that are venture-funded and spend hundreds of millions of dollars, but that's basically what they do. They spend a lot of money, and we do the opposite. We don't waste money, we don't waste resources, ours or our customers, and that's basically how we primarily differ.
You grew your company incredibly fast from $900,000 in 2014 to almost 20 million in 2018 at 19 million. What were the three biggest drivers of your sales growth over the past 4 years?
I would say people are very important. Every person we hire makes it happen. So if you compare how much revenue we produce per person and how many shipments we move per person, it's a huge difference with the competitors in the market in general. So if you look at some of the big names in logistics, my team moves about 2.7 times more freight per person than some of the larger names out there. If you factor in the venture-funded startups in the logistics space, we move about 3.8 times more cargo per person than some of these guys. So efficiency is really, the number one factor, I would say. And people see it, customers see it. In logistics, people hop around and they test different companies, and it's very easy to see whether your vendor is, wasting your money or is wasteful in general. So people, I would say, are the number one factor. In a world today where there's so much venture funds and being funneled into marketing, is really just smart marketing and word of mouth referrals. So if you can't believe it, that's how we got to the number.
All right. So the second one would be smart marketing or just simply word of mouth referrals?
Yeah.
Okay. By smart marketing, are you referring to other types of marketing as well?
Yes. So, we do partner with a lot of companies to basically sort of outsource sales. So we strategically partner with a lot of companies who do primarily sales and resell our services. So we try not to spend too much money on marketing, because that's not, we don't consider it true and consistent growth. So you have companies out there spending, some of our competitors spending $250,000 a month on Google AdWords, but if the foundation is not lean and efficient company, the moment they stop spending this money, they lose all their revenue, and that's not what's happening with us. Our marketing budget has little effect on ongoing and existing business, so customers stick around even if we don't advertise.
Right. Well, I imagine they're sticking around because you guys are getting the job done at a very attractive price.
Yeah. So there's obviously an acquisition cost, like with any other company, but that's where most of the marketing expense stops. Whereas with other companies, they have to continually spend to keep bringing in the customer, including subsidizing services, which we don't do.
Right. So just going back to the first one a little bit, you talk about people making it happen. What exactly are they doing that the people at the other competitors aren't doing?
It really comes down to choosing the right people. We pick and choose every person very carefully. It's a small team. We're right now less than 20 people in this office, and every new person that comes on board can affect the overall performance. So we absolutely go for the top-notch talent. We recruit a lot from people that we know and have worked with, and we try to go for candidates that have been in the industry and have a lot of knowledge and bring something to the table from their previous jobs. We have competitors who've been in the industry for 150 years, and we don't try to reinvent the wheel. A lot of these companies have gone through a lot of phases, and they know how to do some things really, really well. And when we bring people from these companies, we want them to bring this knowledge with them.
Right.
As opposed to a lot of companies out there who basically think that they can somehow magically come up with a new way of doing something that has been done for 100 years. Right? There's something to be said about trying to innovate and improve old processes and move an old industry out of old ways of doing it, but it's very easy to fall in the trap of thinking that a company that's been doing this for 100 years and spends billions of dollars every year somehow can't come up with improvements, right? So,
right.
We try to piggyback on these improvements that these other companies have made, and by basically bringing on board people who either work there or helped develop these improvements. We go for this sort of candidates.
Right. Does that mean that you don't hire entry level folks, people who have zero experience in logistics?
We're not. We're definitely open to it. We just haven't in the past. We have hired candidates that have shown incredible potential. But there's few of them, admittedly, and when we do hire them, we don't just train them on the job. We do try to provide courses in logistics and supply chain in general. And when we do hire people who don't have experience, we at the very least try to hire people who have degrees in supply chain or logistics of some sort. And out of the 20 people that work here, they come from, believe it or not, 16 different countries. So it's incredibly diverse, and they don't just come from logistics companies in US. They come from logistics companies in Italy, in Spain, in Brazil, in Russia, in Korea. I mean, we bring together incredibly diverse talent from all these countries and all these cultures. So and we encourage diversity. We encourage people bringing their experience with them. So it's a very interesting soup of all these backgrounds.
Right. So for the 4 people who come from the same country, what country is that?
United States.
United States. Okay.
So we have a couple folks from Brazil. I think everybody else is from different countries.
Right. Now, did you hire them from those countries and brought them over, or they're already in the United States?
It's a mixture. Some we hired some from those countries. We hired some that were here, but are from those countries. There's no particular strategy about it. So we don't. Intentionally go hire people who are from different countries. That's not how this came about. We just really look for the most interesting candidate that we think would contribute the most, and they just happen to be immigrants.
Right. So we talked about 2 drivers, people, and the second one, word of mouth referrals. Is there a third driver of your growth?
It's the third driver is would probably be service, which combines a lot of different things. Just efficiency, just this philosophy of being really lean. Which does convert into a lot of savings for customers.
All right. So can you talk a little bit about how you had tremendous growth in 1 year, right? 5.5 million in 2017. In 2018, you hit 19 million. Did you do something different to get that huge bump in 1 year?
No, actually, our trajectory is about 70 to close to 100% growth every year for the last several years. We're constantly on the lookout for opportunities that are not, that are not staring you in the face, right? Our primary growth is not from salespeople pursuing new customers. Right? Our primary growth is from partnering with companies, partnering with startups who enter this logistics space. There are marketplaces that are digital booking platforms, digital freight forwarders, and all kinds of entrants into the space who basically have hard time finding like-minded logistics providers. And we've been on this forefront of forwarding digitization for a long time. So anybody who enters the space, sooner or later ends up having a conversation with us, whether we reach out or they reach out. So we constantly look out for these companies because they bring a lot of new sort of business, a lot of new channels. So most growth comes from new channels rather than directly pursuing customers. And a lot of it also comes from new companies, or I should say existing customers growing. So historically, if you look over a longer period of time, most of our growth, the most consistent growth comes from our customers themselves growing in size. And we like to think that we have something to do with it. If you're a distributor or a manufacturer, you spend upwards of 30% of your expenses on logistics. So if you have the right logistics partner, it's key to your growth. So, we help them grow, and they reward us with, continuous business in return.
Right.
And that contributes a lot to growth. And
now, in terms of partnering with the companies that are digitally minded, how do you find them, or how do they find you?
It's worldwide transportation is by some estimates, is a $6 trillion industry, but it is a very small world somehow. So, you often see names you recognize. If somebody has a new idea about how to do something that involves logistics, they probably, chances are, either recognize us, or if they ask for advice somewhere, they will be directed to us. And we too actively look for these companies, these channels, and these people, by following either the industry news or funding rounds and that sort of thing. So it's there's usually some announcement of some logistics company starting out, or a platform starting out, and we anytime we see it, we reach out to them right away, because we're curious. We know we have something to offer, and we know there's always a potential of gaining a new partner, a new customer, or a new channel.
Right.
It's basically
what's the typical sales cycle when it comes to developing a new partner or landing a new customer? Is it pretty quick, or is it pretty long and drawn out?
Smaller ones, they're pretty quick. It can be a matter of a couple of minutes. And then some of the enterprise customers, it can take months of negotiating, building workflows, and standard operating procedures. If you think about a company that is a large distributor in any industry, that means they have warehousing needs, they have import needs, export needs, domestic distribution, and then other different areas of logistics. And it's incredibly complex to get going with them, because it involves dozens of people at their end, it involves people on our end, all this. Everybody's used to working with a specific vendor. There's already relationships, there's procedures in place, so it can take months to scale up to full cooperation with a large client.
Right.
And we do customize our workflows and processes for larger customers, so that adds to the overall finalizing of the cooperation.
Right. Got it. So how's 2019 shaping up for you so far? Can you share what number that you're on track to hit?
2019 is tricky. It's I think everybody knows about the tariffs, the trade war with China, trade war with Canada, and just about every country out there is at risk. So it creates a lot of doubt, and it's not that a lot of products are now more expensive and a lot of people are going to pay a lot more for their back to school shopping, but all these people who are in this industry and the business of importing and distributing goods in the United States, they're having a hard time planning, right? That's the main problem. It's not that it's 25% more expensive now for them to import. It's that they don't know what's coming next. So companies that import, 20, 30, 40 containers a month of, let's say, backpacks, they don't know what their cost will be 2 months from now. They don't know what their retail rate would be 2 months from now. So it's incredibly hard to plan for in this market conditions. So the only way to minimize their exposure and risk is to just scale down. So that's been happening a lot, and that's kind of the primary negative factor this year. But we're fighting hard to keep on our trajectory, stay on our trajectory. The season is just opening up, so most of the shipments are shipped second half of the year, in preparation for the holidays. So far we've been on track. Hopefully, it'll continue that way, and hopefully this trade war will settle down a little bit, and we'll hit at least the same number or some growth this year.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Three final questions for you, Robert. If you were to have a billboard along the freeway somewhere to advertise what your company does, what would that message be? And keep in mind that most people drive by a billboard in about 6 seconds, so it needs to be a pretty short, to the point message.
Simple, reliable logistics. I'm assuming the person knows what logistics is. They have the need for it. Anybody who deals with logisticians and transportation in general, I think they all want the same thing. They want simplicity and they want reliability. It can get incredibly complex. So, anytime you can find ways to simplify it, it makes a whole lot of difference. So, and reliability, of course, is something that's hard to find in this industry by virtue of its complexity. So that's what the billboard would probably say. Yeah.
Well, logistics makes the economy hum along, right? If stuff doesn't move, things don't happen.
Yeah, it's incredible when when you're in this industry and you walk into a store, whether it's restoration hardware or a Tesla dealership or lots of other places, when you see products that you've actually shipped and that product is there because you made it happen, it's a very cool feeling.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of cool how you mentioned there are these companies, they're talking about new ways of doing logistics, in our new digital world. But at the end of the day, the product still needs to be delivered by, things on ships and trains and trucks, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's somebody operating that crane that loads that container on the vessel. There are sailors, there are captains, there are people who pilot the ship, there are people who drive the truck, there are people who load and unload those containers and airplanes, and that part of it will never be digital. You can't take over all of it completely. So technology is there to assist people. It will assist more and more, but when it comes to physical movement of something so complex, that's still a human at the helm.
Yeah. Have you ever studied any case studies about how Amazon does their logistics?
Absolutely. We work with Amazon very closely. In fact, about maybe 25% of our business is directly related to Amazon. I've seen personally Amazon facilities. I've seen what kind of automation they have. I think with all the media hype out there about automation, it's incredibly humbling to go into a very, very automated Amazon facility and to see how much of it is done by people. It's still technology that's built around people. It's not some kind of a matrix style machine that, things go in and out. There is lots of people inside. There's people walking around. There's people checking things. And these people work very, very fast, machine-like fast, but they are people, aided by technology. And that's, I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. And I didn't realize until I saw it. So, Amazon is very efficient, but Amazon basically makes very good use of the people that work there, and it's just you have to see it to kind of grasp that idea, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I think the warehouse or distribution center for Amazon in nearby Austin here in San Antonio or something. I think they actually offer tours, so I think I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's a great experience. I absolutely recommend it. It's about an hour and a half, I think, and it's very eye-opening.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. And you also brought an interesting point about how they build their logistics around the people, as opposed to their people having to conform around the latest and greatest technology.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's unfortunately become such a buzzword that it's misused and misinterpreted and hyped up so much. You have Uber trucking, you have Flexport, you have all these very overhyped startups, which they make it sound like they are responsible for some sort of revolution, where if you dig a little deeper, it really is just technology aiding people do what they've always done. Just do it more efficiently in some cases, and in some other cases it's just hype, and there's nothing really there.
Right.
So.
Two last questions for you, Robert. Who are your ideal customers, and what's the best way for them to contact your company?
Our ideal customers are businesses that are shipping freight, right? So that would be manufacturers, that would be distributors, importers, and people who have the need to ship things that are heavier than, let's say, 100 pounds. So these are all the people that we work with, all the businesses that we work with. We work best with people who value efficiency, who value long-term relationships. We are by no means the cheapest company out there, but we are very, very good at what we do. So people who value this are ideal customers for us, and basically they can contact us by going on our website, which is freightright.com. They can also email me. My email is robert@freightright.com. It's in my signature and seen about 1,000 times a day. So, or they can email sales@freightright.com, and somebody will respond to them right away and get in contact, and we can get things going.
All right. Robert, it's been awesome having you on my show today. I really enjoyed hearing about how you grew your company so fast.
The pleasure was mine.
We've been speaking with Robert Khachatryan, the founder and chief operating officer of FreightRight Global Logistics, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.